How's it going, guys? We're live from the new Iconz training center. I'll let Manny introduce us and the reason why we're going live tonight.
Hey guys, nice to see you all. Just down here at Boothby Street, Iconz Training Center. Just wanted to have a chat to you about why we do what we do. A couple of things that happened over the course of Iconz rugby that's led us to this point, opening the gym over the next couple of weeks, and yeah, moving forward and how you can help yourself, how you can help Iconz, and let's
Yeah, pretty much. So guys, a lot of people don't know, everywhere we go we get asked, what is Iconz? What do you do? What is it that we do? I guess a little bit of our backstory is, myself when I was younger was a sprinter and was earmarked to go to the Olympics. Would have been in 2020 or even 2016, but you know, things change, and the ironic thing is I got brought into rugby, and through rugby I found mates, but through rugby also got injured and missed out on that career. And looking back, the biggest thing I didn't have when I was younger was an external circle outside of my family and friends who knew more about where I was going and could basically say, hey man, what are you doing? I know you want to go play rugby, I know it's fun, I know you want to have the social aspect, but at the end of the day, you've got one shot. You know, you've got one chance to do this. And I didn't appreciate that, and then it wasn't until I got a little bit older and realised that, you know, that shot's gone, and, you know, was chasing shiny things. So, you know, Manny can touch on his, but our stories are different yet the same, and I'm sure a lot of you out there have similar stories as well.
Yeah, and so for me, I was a contracted rugby league player, you know, at the age of 16. You know, the world at your feet, all your dreams accomplishable. But I thought I'd already made it. Thought I was there. Thought it was just going to happen. From that, you know, I wish that I was very deliberate in what I was trying to do, and I wish that I had someone that engaged me, someone that I could listen to, that was saying, hey Manuel, you know, why are you partying 3 nights a week? You know, why are you going to staff night on a Tuesday? You don't need that. You don't need that, okay? And you know, I had my opportunity and I lost it, and same sort of thing. A couple of years later, I sort of rebuilt myself and had another crack, and then I sort of said, okay, well, maybe I need me 5 years down the track, and I guess that's what we're now trying to do, is, you know, getting people within our circles and mentoring and helping people to accomplish whatever it is, whether it's to be the next Super Rugby player, or whether it's to be be the father of your family and lead your own personal family in the right direction.
So I guess, like, having that small backstory about us, Iconz was kind of created out of that. It's funny about that because me and Manny were both on the piss in, Byron Bay Sevens, on the piss, talking about how this could explode and become sevens could be the bracket for guys who miss out on NRL or Super 15 out of school, how they could bridge to showcase their skills. And we kind of went home, we talked about it more on the piss, we talked about it more on the piss, and it came to one Friday night where we were sitting there watching Friday night footy, and we noticed there was these 3 or 4 NRL players, and we personally knew, you know, 10 guys who had more talent but didn't make it. You know, they're playing cup or they're playing Premier Grade rugby, and, you know, just in our little network, like nothing, you know, this isn't, we're talking just north side of Brisbane. And we found that, and we were just like, well, let's do this, like, let's create something bigger. And at the time we were involved with a few associations where we took this idea to a few people, and it kind of...
Different clubs.
everyone said it was a good idea, but no one wanted to kind of traction it. So, you know, we just jumped out and did it ourselves. And that's kind of where it started. It was really, we really just wanted to create an opportunity for players to come to have a location or have a system where there was no fucking politics, there was no bullshit, and I'm sorry for the swearing, guys, but I'm real passionate about this. There was just no drama, but rock up, do your best. If you had the goods, you made it. If you didn't, you didn't. Like, plain and simple. You knew where you stood. I think a personal note from that, there was a lot of physical and like internal struggles. I know mentally, like the biggest thing for me is I never knew this program would create the man and the person that I am today. You know, back before, there's a lot of people who know me, like I was not a good person, just not a good bloke. And that came out on the footy field through aggression and anger, and that was my venting process. And I guess it's a lot better than going to the nightclub and hitting people, but it's through this process of learning and wanting to be a better person and help others, it's also helped ourselves. But that's been a huge internal struggle. You know, learning how to be a man when you don't have, I guess, a modern male figure in your life, more than just one. Like if you take it back to the old days, it wasn't just one man for a family, like it was community. You know, all the men got together and looked after all the women, and all the women looked after all the children, and it's community. It was like it's a tribe of people. You know, you all help each other, and you know, they were some of the internal struggles for me. I know Manny's got his own, and he'll probably touch on them.
Yeah, mate. For me, basically after, you know, growing up around that footy scene and school and rep and all that sort of stuff, I think it was purely a really a confidence thing. It's you know, especially after we'd sort of taken the idea to a couple of different people, and it was sort of like, okay, well, can we do this? You know, are we actually going to help people? Do I really need me? And it's funny, sort of as we've gone on further and further, and year by year has passed, and more people and players have sort of gone through the program and sort of send you that message and say, you know, thanks for having me. I really learned a lot, and this is what I got out of it. And it sort of re-emphasised the fact that, well, you know, you don't have to be confident. You don't have to necessarily be the most skillful or experienced person, but if you have a go and you're just being straight up honest with people and telling them about yourself, maybe it's just being an ear, or maybe it's just being there, that can help and assist someone else to take away something that you didn't quite get.
And I know, like when we were first starting out as Iconz, like a lot of this is like psychological and mental barriers and how people develop, but you know, we hit some real physical challenges as well. Like there was challenges of not being able to get a field. Yeah. Here's us trying to help people, and we didn't have a field, we didn't have a club, we didn't have no money, no support network. You know, we could easily, if we added up all the man hours and all the money we've put into this business over since 2009, you know, we're talking probably $500,000 to $1 million in investment. And at the end of the day, like, what does that come to? Like the physical and physical struggles of going through, you know, like not working, quitting work, you know, making this happen, sacrifices, missing out on family, time, just they're big struggles. And I guess if you change that to anything, like, you know, the players we deal with, they're tradies, they're business people, they do the same thing. Like football is a burden. You know, you have to give up 15 hours of your week minimum away from your friends, away from your family, and away from your loved ones to pursue this 1% of making it. Yeah. And that's huge. And the reward on, if you spend that 15 hours right, could be absolutely massive. Like the reward to get not only an achievement or a plan, but the reward to kind of get something physical out of it and tangible in a strong relationship and mates for life is huge. And I know early on, like, we had a plan. You know, we had this fucking master plan. We were sitting there. Wow. We were in Woodridge. Yeah. At Mina's house, at Mina's mum's house, and we had a whiteboard, and what it takes about 3 hours, and we had this grand plan. Yeah. You know, we were going to open Australia's #1 high performance unit for all athletes to come and be a part of. You know, the best thing, it still has not changed. Yeah. We put a 10-year time frame to that. and that's 2019. We're in 2017. We've opened up a location.
Yeah.
Like, we are going places, and I guess, you know, we were talking, oh, we need $1 million and we need $1 billion and we need to do this, and we were going to buy Shore Road, and you know, we had this master plan, and I guess the one thing that we knew is we just had to execute it. Like, we just had to follow our passion, year in, year out, show up, play rugby, do the seven circuit, meet people, make it happen. And you know, I know Manny might have had his own little plan and stuff like that as well, but like, that's how I saw it. Like, it was, you know, this is a thing. Like, we were ahead of the game, and now, you know, we're in the middle of the game. So
there's a lot of people doing it now as well, and you know, it's not just the one or two people. There's lots of people doing the same sort of thing, in terms of trying to be high performance and try to provide opportunities, and you know, I believe that's great, and I believe that's a testament to the initial idea that we had, that, you know, we want to mentor and provide this pathway, and for me lately, you know, the biggest thing that's sort of been hitting home is make the Wallabies great again, because that's,
they're shit.
That's not really good being a Wallaby supporter right now.
No, not at all. I guess for me, the conflicts that we had, like, I remember a story where we met with the club, and they basically told us we were a conflict of interest. You know, like, having that come down on you, like, we're just trying to help, how can we be a conflict? Like, the struggles we came with, and so many people meet these same struggles in life that are outside of rugby. You know, you meet it where someone goes, oh, that's not heading in my direction, brush it, you're done. Yeah. And no one's there to support you, and no one's there to back you. And we've probably had 2 or 3 really, really solid mentors who've helped us, and not even help as in financially or anything like that, but just provide, boys, don't give up. Like, you're on something here, like, you're going to make a difference. And I guess we never thought it that way. We were always chasing that $1 million, and the money was a driver, and then all of a sudden, building people became a driver. Yeah.
Or someone like Build Corp to, you know, chuck $100,000 into
that'd be good. That'd be good.
Something like that.
But that's what we discovered. And we've had some major failures over the years. Like, I know I've failed individuals in our program. Like, there's probably 3 or 4 boys that I can think of right now who come to the head that I failed them. Like, as a coach, as the leading head figure of that side, like, I failed them through my application and my coaching and my deliverance of messages. And, you know, I had to go away and strip everything back and grow as a person to give better. And, you know, that hurts when you go home and you spend all that time away from your family, and, you know, you've got loved ones and little ones, and you're leaving them at home to then go fail someone else. Like, that's tough. And no matter what industry you're in, that's tough. You know, I know some guys who own some plumbing businesses and stuff, and economy's tight, and they're in the same boat. You know, and the one thing, if I could give any advice, is if you've got a passion and a following, is like, find out how that passion makes a difference to you and your loved ones, not to anyone else. Like, if you can build it inside, you can build it outside. It's kind of like the field of dreams: build it and they'll come. You know, that's all you got to do. Build it and they'll come. So, like, you know, I know I've failed massively, man. What about yourself?
Oh, mate, like, even just getting this started, and, you know, I guess for me, the biggest thing is I've actually never really wanted to be a coach, you know, and it's always been, you know, this guy's always pushed me and saying, you know, do it. And it's funny because I stopped playing rugby and I headed down to local rugby club and sort of found myself all of a sudden coaching, and I guess initially finding that actual passion, and what I wanted to do, and then actually standing up for yourself and saying, well, why aren't we doing this, or why aren't we doing that, and just being happy to sort of let the status quo happen, or let things go, and not sort of being man enough or trusting yourself, or being able to approach someone and say, hey man, how about we just give this a try? Or, hey man, when you did that, why did you do that? Hey, why can't, you know, is there a better way of doing this? Is there a better way of approaching things, and it's funny because I tell everyone who asks us about Iconz, well, it's me and Kurto, and then Kurto corrected me and said, no, it's our families, it's our partners, Fizz and Mina put in just as much as we do in the time, and then when we're away as well,
and dealing with us.
Yeah, so and growing and being able to able to actually talk, actually say. I think initially me and Andrew, like, even we lived together, we were best mates, and being able to talk to each other at a critical level was something that even took time as well.
100%. It's funny, like we've gone through all these hardships and failures, and we're 8 years down the track, but man, we've done some great things. Like we set out to win. Like our first year, Noosa was on the map, and we set out to win Noosa, and we did that in 2012. And I guess for me, the biggest success is seeing. I think we're close to 20 guys now. We're just short of 20 guys who've been through our program, who I've seen changes in them personally to go on to professional sport. Whether they were going to make it on or not without us, I think most of them would. But there's a few that I know full well you could see that penny drop moment when we're dealing with them in some aspect where you can just see them go, wow, that's why I haven't made it. Wow, that's why I've been dropped. That's why I got kicked out. And guys, I'll tell you what, every player who I speak to about a player a day or a player every 2 days, every player I speak to says, I need to improve on field. It's got nothing to do with on field. You make off field right, on field comes. Everyone can train technique. You train your mind to match your technique, and you are sweet. You believe in yourself, and you are good. But it's not a fabricated belief. Like, it's not, I believe in myself. Like, you got to deep down know, hands down, you step across that white line and you're good as gold. Like, there ain't nothing going to stop you. And we have this one player who played for us, Joey Bond, worst trainer in the world, and he's been called it his whole life, has cans of Cokes, eats KFC, does everything. At the end of the day, his whole attitude was, as soon as I cross that white line, I'm number one. Like, it doesn't matter how many hours you put in prior to the white line. You cross that white line, it's all about that. No one cares what you do outside, everyone cares what happens on the field. It is just that, if you prepare right, you have that white line more attainable to you to produce that result. And other things we've achieved is helping guys off field. Like, there's been some dudes who've gone through some terrible times with us who know that they can call us. Like, I'm talking things like, men's health, suicide. I'm talking things like guys lost their job, don't know where to go, people stranded overseas. This business has created a movement where people know it's safe to come and open up. Like, you're not going to get ridiculed. You just got to be yourself. And if you give us, we'll give you, and from there, some result will happen. So I guess, like, every business or every journey has kind of that epiphany moment where you're kind of like, wow, this is it. And Manny's got his, and I guess for me, mine was probably a couple of years ago. I was dealing with a Broncos 20s player, and it kind of clicked to me. He was already in the system. He had a high chance of making NRL, but he thought his best bet was to make Q Cup the following year. Like, that was his goal. And we canned a session, and I spent about 2 hours with him just talking to him about his goal and going places and not just going here, but why can't he go there? Like, why can't he go there? And we worked out what it would take, and over about a 3 to 4 week period, he did those things. 6 weeks later, the dude's got a 2-year contract. Like, from zero to something, on the basis that the only thing changed was he identified in himself what he can do better. And for me, that was the epiphany moment that I can actually help these guys. Like, through my failures and my bad experiences, I can stop that from happening to someone else, and they can go one step. And if that can then get replicated again, hopefully that player can then do it again. And that's gold. We got no financial benefit. I was don't even think, I might have charged him $10 a session. Like, we weren't charging. Like, we made no financial benefit of him. Don't get paid for his contract. But it's not about that. It's about the fact that that was the moment where I realised that this program can never stop. Like, it can't stop. You know, what was yours, man?
Oh, mate, there's so many. There's so many little moments that just sort of tie you up. Like, for me, you know, bringing a team together for Noosa in 2012, and you know, we had guys from NRL 20s. We had a kid from France who was playing second grade Premier Rugby in Queensland. We had a couple of Colts.
Kid fresh out of school.
Then we had a couple of guys who had sort of been in and out of Aussie development and doing this, and we sort of didn't know what to do. We had a 30-year-old or 28-year-old at the time, decathlete, you know, who was just a freak athlete, and all of a sudden we'd won 2 of our 3 pool games. We'd won our quarterfinal. Oh, holy shit! We might be able to take the whole thing out. We win our semi, come up against Australia in the final. We're 14 all at half time, and I'm just going, holy shit! We're about to be the national team with all the national players in it, with a group that we brought together on Friday afternoon, and at that moment I sort of said, like, it's not necessarily about the program, it's not necessarily about the players, it's about the bringing together, it's about that little bit of mentoring, that little bit of Friday night chats that we had, the recovery and the things we emphasised over the weekend, and that result just flowed through to the premiership, the win in 2013 with a even sort of more younger group and less experienced, and you know, and that was probably one of the greatest achievements that sort of I've noticed with Iconz, and that feeling of winning that tournament was just amazing. And I just thought, wow, if we could do this all the time, every time, like, why would you ever stop? I'll give my last dollar to Iconz
Which
to
have.
get us to that and to the next one.
I guess that brings us to, like, you know, me and Manny didn't speak about this live. We basically, I told him we're going live tonight, and I told a few of our friends we're going live tonight, and that's it. I didn't really give him too much info, so that kind of leads me to, there was one thing I wanted to cover, and it's probably the 3 most common things we see in players, why they don't make it. The number one for me of why players don't make it, or just have that massive roadblock in them of why they're not going to make it, is pure attitude to the application. Like, they just don't get it. Like, they just think, I show up to training, I do my work, it's going to happen. It's just not going to happen with just that. You know, there's so much more that you have to align. And I'm sorry, guys, but it might be cool to go get on the piss every second weekend, but, you know, it's just, if you have a set goal, go do that. And we treat our mentoring and our program very much like a business, you know, and if you start up a business and invest $100,000 and then all of a sudden go, well, I'm going to go spend 50 grand over this way because I want to go do that, rather than putting it into your business and then wonder why you didn't make 200 grand instead of only making 100. Like, it's just simple stuff. Like, every other part of your life, you know that if I don't do this, this isn't going to happen. And guys come to footy and they think, oh, well, I just take care of the physical and everything else matches. No. You have to do nutrition. You have to work on, you know, the whole works. The most talented footballers, they might make it, but they're only there for 1 year. Who the fuck wants to play? Who the fuck wants to play 1 season in Super 15? And that's the worst thing, is guys set their goal to make it, not to actually sustain it. You know, why don't you want to be a Brad Thorne? Yeah. You know, win everything. I've never had one player come to me and say, I want to be like Brad Thorne. Everyone goes, I want to make Super Rugby. I want to make NRL. No one says, I want to be an immortal. I get a 17-year-old kid who comes to me and goes, bro, I want to be immortal. I'm doing this, this, and this, and I can do this, this, and this, you then believe in that kid straight away.
Yeah.
There's not much to work with that kid. You just got to support him along and carry him along. But we're so afraid to have that attitude and that deliberate action to believe in that process. And that's the biggest thing for me. You know, what outside of that, sorry to take, that's probably the number one thing for us. You know, what else is there that you see?
Well, I think you said that I think you tied it in really on the end. Like, I'm all about being deliberate. I think there's a lot of stuff you can do. You can train, you can weights program, you can do the right training, communicating with your coaches, communicating with those people. It's a broken record, the amount of people that tell me he didn't like me. he didn't believe in me.
You don't like yourself.
You didn't, I didn't do this, and this, and that. What did you get feedback? Did you ask him? Okay, well, this is what I did on the weekend. How did I improve it? Did you get game tape? Did you ask someone to watch your game and give you feedback? Like, there's so many things, and being deliberate about everything that you do is such a simple thing, and the word almost doesn't have enough meaning that it's so simple, yet so many people don't do it. So many people don't, everything else just comes along from that, making the right choices. Like, I think if you're deliberate and you go, okay, well, this is where I'm going to be, everything else just lines up in behind it, and you just flow straight through to Super Rugby, to wherever it is. And then moving on that, and all the boys that I talk to, you might only get one chance. You might play Premier Reserve for 2 years, and the 1 week where you're going to get your Premier grade call up, and that might make the difference. I got on the piss the weekend before, I tripped and sprained my ankle. That might have been your chance.
Later, bro.
That might be it.
Catch you later.
And for some people, it comes down to that. And so if you're going to do it, be deliberate. Be deliberate about everything you can. Line it all up in behind it, and I think things will happen. Surround yourself with the people that are trying to do the same thing as you.
So I think the 3 points are the attitude, being deliberate, and dedicated. You have to be committed. It's a non-negotiable. You have to get your priorities right. And over the next few weeks, this is a bit of a side note, on the next few weeks, I'm going to be doing some Facebook Lives around how to actually ask for help from a coach. Because the worst question you can ever ask a coach is, how did I go? What do you think I did well? How do I go? It's fucking bullshit. I'm going to tell you the same thing every other coach has said. You're going to, oh yeah, you did well. Oh, your defense is bad. Oh, you need to work on your pass. It don't mean shit. It ain't going to help you with shit. I'll teach you how to actually ask a coach for help. And I guess all of that, guys, we've been around this for a while, and over the last 2 years, as we've seen some massive highs, some massive lows, and probably the biggest low that we've ever had is, we ventured out at the start of this year to open up a location, and it all fell through, and a massive fault of our own. We were ready, but we didn't know enough, and we made some big mistakes, and we lost a lot of money. We've raised a lot of money over these years doing our tours and putting money together because we had the plan to open up our facility, and we got fixated on that, and we lost more than $40,000, just like that, from a program that doesn't generate money. To lose that is huge. And I guess where we're at the moment is we're on the verge of potentially not having a tour this year. We've spoke to all our boys. All our boys are keen to go. We're scrounging around money, asking people for help and stuff like that. And where it kind of leads us to why I wanted to get Manny and myself up here tonight is to kind of tell you about what we do and how we do it in essence. If you've had anything to do with us, you'll know this story at length, but we're on the verge of not being able to do our tour this year. We're going to scrape through, and it's not what we do. Everyone knows when we rock up loud, we rock up proud, we rock this shit with new gears and kill it. And over the last few years, we haven't been able to do that because the money's been tight, because we've been focusing on this location, and that fell through, cost us a shitload of money. We've opened up a second one, but we're going to need some help. So, kind of what we're doing tonight is we just want to reach out. If anyone knows of any good ideas or anyone who can kind of help us in some aspect, you know, we've potentially got in excess of 40-something players this year who are going to go through our program, 40 to 50 is the average with our men's, women's and under 18s teams. And if we can kind of reach out to our network and the people watching here and anyone who knows anyone to kind of go, hey man, I might know a bloke, or can you do this? You know, we're going to be auctioning off our jerseys this year, which is something that we've never done.
Yeah.
And we've never done it because our jersey is something that you've got to earn it. You don't just give it away. But this is the first time that we're in a position where if we don't do some desperate things, then our boys might be able to play this year and our girls might be able to play this year, but we're done. Like we're gone. So, you know, for us, there's going to be a few things like that. We might have some raffles and stuff, but we're really looking, you know, for some help. You know, we've got a few different ideas. If people want to sponsor, that's great. I'll level with you straight now on camera. There is no fucking financial benefit to sponsoring outside of your heart helping. It's really not. So we're even looking at potentially like, you help us now, we'll pay you back. You know, whatever it takes. You know, if Centrelink were giving out loans, I'd be asking them, but I heard they only do 250 to 500 and that just doesn't cut it. So, you know, you got to like, it's hard, guys. It's hard. It's really hard to hear, to get this and say this to you, because we present an image that is so strong, and at the moment we've got a crack and we need help fixing it. You know, so if you know a way or you know anyone, please reach out to us or someone, one of our players who's connected to us, and just reach out. You know, see if you can help us.
It's something that we've never done before, and you know, like Andrew said, you know, we're mentoring people, and you know, this is the right way. This is the image. Everything's up top. Everything's above board. We're all sweet. Everything's squared away. But you know, we need your help. So if you're connected to one of the boys, I suppose if you're watching this, then you must be connected through someone, and you can help out. You know, give us a buzz, help us out. Contact Andrew or myself or one of the boys, and just drop us a message. Happy to have a coffee, mate, even if it's just a learning experience. You know, everything. I can't say I've ever walked away from a coffee with someone and not taken something away. There's always that one nugget, or many nuggets that you take away from a conversation with someone where I go, wow, I can use that, I can take that, I can pass it on to one of the boys that we're dealing with, or use it for Iconz or Iconz Training Centre in the future.
So guys, this is something that we're going to encapsulate a little bit more. I believe myself and Manuel have a lot more to give, and the online platform allows us to do that. We're going to do some teaching and some core principles, just things around exactly what I spoke about the other week, like how do you talk to a coach? Like, key thing that you need to do, how do you do it properly? You know, we've been coaching for a long time and around coaches for a long time, and there's certain things that get like, why does that player get a better go? And you know, we're going to be doing this regardless. You know, they're going to be seeing a lot more of us, whether it's just one of us or two of us. We're going to put our content out there for all of you to have for free, and you know, get behind us. So yeah, guys, that's it from us. Thank you so much for listening. If you can, share the fuck out of this, as that's what we need to do. I'm not going to hide my manners. I need this to be better, because I hate asking for help, and this is cheering me up at the moment, and it just needs to happen. All right, guys. Thank you very much. We'll catch you later.